Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of What Do You Mean You've Never Seen, a podcast that explores and analyzes prestigious and popular films that one of us has never seen before. I'm your host, Jonathan Colon, and I'm joined as always by my co-hosts, Jennifer Branch.
Hey, everybody.
And Max Abelman.
Hello, everybody.
Joining us this week is our special guest host, Mathew Arter. Hello, Mathew.
Oh, my God. It's such a pleasure to be here. I can't tell you. I love the idea of the podcast because I can't tell you how many times I've been sitting in a room full of actors and they're like, oh, well, The Godfather. And I'm like, never seen it. And
No.
like, oh, Revenge of the Sith. And I'm like, never seen it.
Well, it's like people act like
I've
you
never
just
seen
slapped
it.
them in the face when you tell them that you haven't seen these movies.
Yeah,
Exactly.
right.
Well, what would you like to tell our audience about yourself, Mathew?
Oh, nobody cares about me.
Oh, we do.
We care.
I'm an actor. I'm a drag performer here in Orlando. And that's about it. But, I have a cat. That's about
What's your cat's name?
Judy Garland.
Oh, love it.
That's sweet. Well, thank you for joining us, Mathew, as we discuss this week's film, The Breakfast Club.
Ooh.
And this is another banner week for us because I think none of the four of us have seen this movie before. Is that correct?
No.
Correct.
I had not seen it. It was a little bit before my time, the whole John Hughes
Yeah.
era.
Yeah, same here.
I was a little too young to really appreciate the teen angst that is so prevalent in his films.
Yes.
Mhm.
Lots of teen angsty white kids. in
Yeah.
those movies.
Yeah.
Well, The Breakfast Club is a 1985 American teen coming-of-age comedy drama film, written, produced, and directed by John Hughes, starring Emilio Estevez, Paul Gleason, Anthony Michael Hall, Judd Nelson, Molly Ringwald, and Ali Sheedy. It was released on February 7th of 1985 on a budget of $1 million, and it made $51.5 million.
Well, good for it.
I was really scared about the budget. I was like, if Jonathan says the budget is more than like $7,
Yeah.
they spent too much money. Because there's no scenes, there's no sets, there's no costumes.
Yeah.
There's no nothing.
You could
Right.
you could have filmed this in like a weekend, you know?
Which it probably was. This is, I think, a very culturally significant film. It's like one of the first Brat Pack movies from the mid-'80s, and everybody who's a little bit older than us swears by how awesome it is. We even had a comment on our teaser Facebook post saying, oh, buy the Criterion Collection DVD. It's the best version of the movie. And needless to say, I will not be doing that.
Hulu was just fine for this.
Yeah, Hulu's great.
Hulu was fantastic. So really super brief plot description. It's 5 kids who look like they're in their 30s.
Yep.
Have detention on a Saturday for 8 hours with this really dictatorial teacher who seems to really enjoy having to work on a Saturday, and just because he gets to be mean to the kids. And they argue with each other, they bond, they dance. Ali Sheedy shakes
They smoke pot.
They smoke pot. Ali Sheedy shakes the dandruff out of her hair. It's very iconic too.
Oh, yeah.
The fashion is iconic.
It's not super plot heavy.
No.
Would you call it a plot? I don't know.
So yeah, they have interactions with each other over the course of the day, and friends become enemies, enemies become friends. I laughed, I cried, it became a part of me.
Okay.
It was better than Cats.
Oh,
High
yeah.
praise.
Yeah. You know what? Yes, you are correct.
Max has seen Cats, so he
I
can
have
say
seen
that.
Cats.
Ooh.
All right, so let's talk about what we knew about this movie going into it. And we'll start with you, Mathew. What did you know about the plot? What have you heard about it? What have people told you about this movie? And have people been like ready to slap you in the face because you haven't seen it before?
Well, I don't know how many people are ready to slap me in the face, but it just, going into it, it's that John Hughes, kids are always right, adults are terrible kind of plot line that is everything he's ever done. And it's like, Molly Ringwald, you immediately think of 16 Candles or The Breakfast Club. So it was just one of those where it's like, all those people that were famous in 1985, and it's them spending the day in detention. That's all I knew about it.
Yep. How about you, Jennifer?
I mean, that's pretty much all I knew, and that's pretty much all I knew after the movie, too. So that's basically it. I mean, I think I said on our preview, like, I don't see this movie doing anything super shocking because I feel like it's one of those, you kind of get the gist of it from everything you've heard about it. There's
pretty
nothing really shocking about it. as far as the plot goes.
I was under the impression before watching this movie that it took place over multiple days rather than one day. I don't know. It just made more sense to me if they would like have morning detention every day, like they meet every day, like some sort of a club.
Like they're an actual club.
Like they're an actual club in the morning, like when you might have breakfast instead of them just calling themselves the Breakfast Club.
Breakfast in
there
this.
is no Breakfast Club.
There's no breakfast.
There's no breakfast, there's no club. Yeah.
Okay. Matthew, why don't you give us your thoughts and impressions on the film? Was it an interesting watch? And what stood out about it? And do you have any thoughts about the length, the pace, the action?
Oh my
and there's so
God.
much action.
This movie goes nowhere fast. I mean, I'm already, it's difficult. It is difficult because it's one of those movies that people hold on to with such joy from their childhood. But watching it through 2022 eyes, it's very problematic.
I could not agree with you
Oh my
more.
goodness.
I had so many issues with this movie.
And I mean, John Hughes, I'm not being accusatory or anything, and I'm not saying he touched me at all. But it just, John Hughes, the sexualization of young girls, like Molly was 16 in this movie, and Judd Nelson was 22. There should not have been a kissing scene between those two.
No.
Even though they're only acting. I get it. He was supposed to be a high schooler, even though he looked 40. And it was like Grease, too, without any of the fun or any of the plot.
Yeah, well, the worst, the upskirt shot, I did not need that.
No,
Not
why
necessary.
did that happen?
Why did we see that? Like, no, we didn't need to see that.
Why was that included?
Oh, gosh. Yeah. What do you think, Jennifer? What's your thoughts on this movie?
Yeah, nothing really happened. It was like the only interesting, iconic moments are maybe in the last third of the movie, where they dance and whatever. And I guess that scene's fun-ish. But for like the first hour, nothing. They barely speak to each other. Their one scene where they have all these like breakthroughs, I thought was very late in the movie and didn't really seem to do much. But then all of a sudden, they're best friends. I don't know. I know, like Mathew said, I know people really love this movie, and I know like friends and listeners of our podcast really love this movie, but it was not the best for me.
What about you, Max? What do you think?
This movie is like, it played like a Beckett play. It's like the Waiting for Godot of high school dramedies, It was even acted like almost like it was an apocalypse movie. These people were acting like they were in an apocalypse movie, but they were just like in a school on a Saturday. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get why it's like this.
Yeah, that scene where Anthony Michael Hall starts to cry and ask if they're still going to be friends on Monday, and I was like, "Are you friends now?"
Exactly. That's literally what I have in my notes. I'm like,
oh,
why do you think you're friends? Like, these people have not been nice to you all day.
And they were so mean to him the whole time. Everybody.
And he also starts crying, and I'm just like, I don't believe you. Stop it. Stop it right now.
He does that actor thing where they like ball their fists up and screw them into their eyes to make water come out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found this movie to be so uninteresting. I was almost interested in how uninteresting it was, I'm like waiting for something interesting to happen, and it just never does. Nothing comes. And Judd Nelson gets away from the group and then comes back, and the teacher never checks on them again, like for the last 4 or 5 hours that they're there.
What?
I don't understand that. This library in this high school, I have to say, is the giantest library I've ever seen. And I've been inside the New York Public Library. What school has a library that big?
Yeah,
it was multi-level.
It's also like a 3-story school or something. It's like crazy. But can we talk about this teacher? Like, what is going on with this teacher?
I think he's on the route to, he's going to blow up the school or come in with a shotgun or something.
I think he's on hallucinogens. I think he's the only actual character in this movie. Why doesn't he know all of the kids' names or have like a list of all the kids who are supposed to be there. Because, like,
Right.
It's only 5.
Because,
It's not.
because we learned that Ali Sheedy isn't even supposed to be there at all.
She just shows up on her own.
Yeah, she just shows up on her own.
Oh, but was that real though? Because she says she's a compulsive liar. So then from then on, like, I don't really believe anything she says.
I feel like that's real. That one was real, though.
And her parents picked her up in a nice car.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. That's apropos of nothing. Sorry.
But, like...
one of my wonderful hot takes.
But, like, this is not how any school operates. You can't just, like, leave a bunch of kids in a room alone for extended periods of time. But he leaves those kids in a room for hours. And he doesn't have a list of all of their names. And he doesn't know any of them.
And supposedly they're not allowed to do homework. Why not?
Yeah, they're not allowed to study. They're not allowed to read. They just have to sit there for 8 hours.
What are they even there for?
I had Saturday school one time, and you know what they had us? They have us, like, cleaning up the school. Like, you go pick up trash. You go do something. Like, what's the point in having them just sit there?
Yeah, it makes no sense. And it apparently is the worst punishment one can give at this school, because after Judd Nelson literally tells him to F off to his face, the worst he can do is give him another Saturday detention.
Yeah. Or if you per se bring a gun to school, if you bring a gun to school, you get a day of detention.
Oh.
What?
Yeah, I guess, like, spelling is not...
What?
What the heck? So what do we think about the eyebrows in this show? It's a show. It's a movie.
I mean, Judd Nelson has a unibrow, pretty much. You know, it's pretty much just goes straight across.
And his mouth is always open.
I'm sorry. Just about the teacher. That's a very John Hughes thing. To have the adult just be evil. Like, just to reiterate to the kids watching, adults are evil.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I will say that watching this as an adult is very different than watching it as a 15-year-old probably in 1985. But because have you watched Rent as an adult?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, it doesn't hit the same.
When you watch it as an adult, you're like, pay your fucking rent, all right?
Yes.
Just
get a job.
Get a job and pay your rent. So, like, watching this teacher have this conversation with Judd Nelson, who could Judd Nelson be more beautiful? I'm sorry. I just wanted to look at his face.
I did love his hair. He had very shiny hair.
This is like the best Judd Nelson's ever looked.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the character, again, problematic, but it's just so John Hughes to, like, be like, yeah, adults are bad and evil. And when he's talking to Judd Nelson, he's like, I will knock you out. It's like, holy Jesus. But
he challenges him to a fight in a storage closet.
Yeah.
What is this What is happening?
I did not realize those lines were from this movie. Like, I've heard the, like, why don't you hit me in the face, that sort of a deal before, and I think it's referenced in other things. I did not realize that was from this.
It's like we suddenly became Roadhouse for a couple of minutes.
Like, what is happening?
But did you ever have a teacher like that? Like, I feel like it's a John Hughes trope.
Oh, yeah.
I've had some pretty bad teachers, actually. Yeah.
I mean, but there's, like, a difference between a teacher that's just, like, over it and uninterested and, like, just being evil. I don't think this guy's gonna care that much. Like,
I had a teacher, it was, well, I won't say the era, but if you were bad in class, and this was in high school, you got a $3 bill handed to you that said queer is a $3 bill on it.
Whoa.
That's real? Wow.
That is insane.
Oh, wow.
That was about as evil as I ever got. I never had a teacher throw me into a closet, and I will tell you, if I were in a closet with 22-year-old Judd Nelson... I would not have threatened to slap him in the face with my hand anyway.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good Lord. But speaking of handsome, can we talk about Emilio Estevez?
Emilio is my favorite.
He looks so... I have never seen him look so like clean cut and nice. He actually looks like Martin Sheen. Like,
100%.
This is the most Martin Sheen he's ever looked.
I thought the same thing, because, like, I never really think of them as really looking that much alike. I always thought Charlie looked more like Martin, but Emilio looks exactly like him in this.
Yeah, it's like Apocalypse Now Martin Sheen in this movie. And Molly Ringwald, man.
Thank God they had Emilio take that shirt off and spend the majority of the time in a tank top.
I mean, it was still too much, but we'll live with it.
Well, this movie loves layers.
This movie loves layers. But while we're on Emilio Estevez,
I'd love to be.
Yeah. While we're under Emilio Estevez, he's supposed to be like this popular jock guy, but is wrestling a popular sport? I feel like it is not a sport where the popular kids populate. It is a sport that sporty people do, but not like popular kids do those sports, right?
Well, I mean, he's not really friends with Molly Ringwald, so he's obviously not in the top tier of the high school echelon. Yeah. Probably the football players or the basketball players are in the top tier. But wrestling is like one level down.
He's kind of mid-grade. Like, I think he kind of, Molly is familiar with him, but they're not like friends at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't run in her circle, but I think he's still supposed to be like a pretty cool dude.
Yeah, but I don't know. When I was in school, like, the football jocks were popular, but like the wrestling jocks were just like people who wrestle. They weren't popular. They weren't like in
I guess it depends on the school.
They weren't really in a higher social group, you know? I don't know. My brother wrestled, and he's a loser.
Wow, shots fired at Ben.
This is more to see if he actually listens to the podcast, y'all. I don't think he does.
Wasn't AC Slater
a wrestler?
He was.
He played every sport though, and drums, and danced, and did everything.
And could sing, yeah.
Yeah.
He was like a
superhuman.
Yeah.
Octagonal threat. So let's talk about what about the girls? What do we think about the girls in this movie?
Oh well, obviously Ali Sheedy cannot possibly be pretty until she has a headband on.
Yeah, of course.
Like
she has
before
bangs.
that, she was a hideous monster. But she puts a headband on, all of a sudden she's pretty. Of course, that classic thing.
Yeah, and get rid of the smoky eye, and then suddenly she's gorgeous, and Emilio Estevez is kissing her out of nowhere.
Oh, I know.
I feel like those two barely interacted the entire movie.
I mean, I kind of got it. I thought it was going to go that way, but also I feel like every character in this movie is gay, so that's another thing.
I felt
like that's the way it was supposed to go.
Yeah, the
but
coupling
it just
up at the end really bothered me.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't like
these,
any of it.
These people did not have to couple up. It's fine. You can just be friends.
Well, and if you're going to do that, you should have put 6 people in it so that all 3 people could be in couples.
Yeah.
Poor Anthony Michael Hall, who's the one that's like bringing a gun to school, ends up with nothing.
Yeah.
Well, he gets to write the letter. They nominate him to actually have to do the one assignment they have to do.
And they were there for 8 hours and they couldn't write 1,000. Like, I could write 1,000 words in 15 minutes.
That's not a lot of words. I would be like, can we leave after we finish this? Because I'll just do it now. I'm not going to go off on adventures.
That letter. You're going to see us as you're going to see us. Because I'm 15 and I'm so intelligent and deep. Oh, God.
He loves it so much he kisses the paper after he writes it.
He does couple up at the end of the movie.
With paper.
With paper. It's like, he refers to they're like, signed the Breakfast Club. When did they call themselves the Breakfast Club?
Literally
How
never.
Did that come up? It was worse than in the Goonies when we were like, why do they call themselves the Goonies? At least they say it multiple times. In this one, there's no reference to breakfast. There's no reference to clubs.
Well, there is a reference to clubs.
Yeah,
they talk about it for about 30 seconds.
But they are not, as I said before, they are not a club.
They're not a club.
They only met once.
The only meal they eat is lunch, which, let's talk about that for a second. Like sushi in the 80s. I mean, you might as well be eating live rats or something, right?
How would she, bring unrefrigerated sushi?
I know.
Yeah.
And hang on to it for, because they get there at 7 o'clock, right? And lunch is at 12:30.
Also, what
5 hours? It's been sitting, and she's going to sit there and eat it? Come on. Who's going to bring sushi to something like that? Bring a frozen burrito, for crying out loud.
Also, what the hell was going on with that scene? They went to get milk, right? They went to go get milk. What happened with the milk?
No, they went to get soda.
I thought they went to get milk.
No, they asked for milk, but they were denied and said there's a soda machine in the teacher's lounge.
Okay, but they sent 2 people to go and pay for everybody's soda?
Right.
Yeah.
So they could have delicious Coca-Cola.
I'm going to let you delinquents, go unsupervised to the teacher's lounge to get soda.
How did they get into the teacher's lounge?
In this cavernous high school, that's the largest school you've ever seen in your entire life. No, just go ahead and read. Who is it? It's Emilio and Allie that go, right? And I guess that's the start of their romance.
Yeah.
Because they went to get Cokes together.
Yeah.
And then she snorted sugar or something after it. I don't know what.
Yeah. She put sugar on her sandwich.
And Captain Crunch.
I didn't know what that was.
It was disgusting.
Well, the phrase I have written the most in my notes is, ooh, so edgy. Because
So edgy.
everything they show is like,
Edgelord.
ooh, so edgy. Ooh, she put sugar on her sandwich. So edgy. Ooh, dandruff. So edgy.
Yeah.
Ooh, he puts handkerchiefs around his ankles for some reason. So edgy. Like,
Every single one of these kids would get the crap beat out of them if they went to
Oh, my
any
goodness.
school anywhere that isn't a white suburb.
And then Emilio Estevez pulls out like 50 pounds of food. They're
So
just all
much.
staring at him. I thought there was going to be more of a conversation around that, but they just don't comment on it at all. They just stare at him and move on.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the
That
assumption
makes
is he's
sense.
trying to like
Bulk
bulk up
up.
to make weight. But I thought wrestlers always were trying to like
Well, it
just be on the
depends.
edge of the lower weight, not
it
trying to
depends
get heavier.
on,
Yeah, I don't
on
know.
what class you're going for, I guess. You know, you don't want to be underweight. You
Maybe
want to be
he's
overweight.
bulking. Maybe he was in a bulking time.
Do you think he was on
Right.
steroids?
They go through cutting and bulking.
I think he
Wrestlers.
was on cocaine. Did you
Oh,
see how he how he
absolutely.
danced? Like he was on cocaine.
And he smoked
Uh,
so much pot in that room.
Can we mention that for a second? Like,
Yes.
I went to high school way before you kids did, and nobody was just randomly smoking in the library.
No.
That
The-
Jake Nelson pulls out a cigarette, and nobody's like,
Right. Well, and then he's like lighting it again with his foot because, you know, so edgy.
Yeah.
Gotta be, you know, you can't just use a lighter. Can't use a
Oh,
match.
geez.
You gotta light your foot on fire.
Yeah, and he strikes the match on the top of the inside of his mouth at one point.
I didn't
Like
see
what?
that.
He goes,
No.
yeah.
And like the teacher
So
doesn't
edgy.
smell this.
Well, it's
There's
not
so
like
much
he's
smoke
going
in that
into the room.
But that's the thing is like, it doesn't make sense. I don't understand what this teacher's motivations are because he so clearly wants to punish everybody in the beginning. But then he just leaves them alone.
Yeah.
He doesn't pay
Loses
attention
interest,
anymore. Like he could totally have come in and busted them about 15 times because he basically told them, you can't even get up from your seat.
yeah.
But he
Right.
comes back,
But he
they've all
doesn't
switched
enforce-
seats,
Yeah.
and he doesn't even notice.
Yeah, he tells them they can't sleep, they can't. Well, and then I guess I was surprised about a little bit of this movie because I thought maybe part of it was going to be they were going to be playing like some hijinks, like there was going to be like fun and games, like ooh, let's play a trick on the teacher. They
Yeah,
don't really do that.
That was the impression that I had got was that they're running around doing hijinks, but they're not. They're just having dance sequences in places.
And again, it's like a long time into the movie, even before that happens.
Yeah, and
like
I thought
for
they're
a lot of the movie, they're just sitting there.
Yeah, and it seems to me that they go straight from nobody talks to each other, everybody's just pissy and in a bad mood, to suddenly, oh, we're running
dancing
around
now.
the school together
Yeah.
and dancing and having
Friends.
a good time.
I thought there was going to be more bonding before it went to the whole dance sequence thing, but no, it was just like they smoked weed and now they're doing a scene out of Reefer Madness where they're just like, we've smoked weed, now we can't stop dancing. Oh dear. Like, what's happening?
Dance until you die.
Dance until you die.
which I just say the whole smoking weed thing. Bless little Anthony Michael Hall, who understood the assignment when it came to that.
Yeah.
But when Emilio gets high and starts doing, it's like that. What's her guts? Helen Hunt on Angel Dust.
yeah,
When she does Angel Dust and jumps out the window, it's like that is the exact opposite of
Yeah.
what stoners would do.
Yeah, he gets all hyped up. What is
yeah,
that?
that's why I'm saying he's like on cocaine or like LSD or something. Like that's not.
He's like, oh, just got high, gotta do 80 pull-ups.
You're doing the wrong drug acting there, buddy. Like, nice try, but no.
Exactly. If you're friends with a stoner, it's like, you want to go outside? You want to go outside?
No.
No.
I want to sit in this chair.
Oh, yeah, you don't want to climb a bunch of stairs or whatever it is he does, like hang like monkey bars. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
But I did start to wonder, you're talking about the teacher's motivation. I did start to wonder as I was watching it on the Hulu. I started to wonder, am I seeing an edited version of this? Because you're absolutely right. We could have learned a little bit more about the teacher. But again, it's a John Hughes film where all you need to know is he's an adult and he's evil. That's
Yeah.
all you
Yeah,
need to
pretty much.
Yeah, it's like Ferris Bueller, that principle. Like,
Yeah, it's basically
too
that.
much work, too much effort.
Yeah.
For
Talk about-
$31,000 a year or whatever it is, he says.
Talk about problematic.
Oh.
The principal in Ferris
Yeah.
Bueller.
Oh, gross.
Both
I
in
hate
the
that.
movie and in real life, he's
Oh,
problematic.
jeez.
Ooh, yeah.
Whatever happened to him?
I think he's in prison.
Is he really?
I think so. I think they found
Yeah. they did.
underage photographs on his computer. Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah.
Not super surprising. I mean, look at that
It's
guy.
It's just funny to me because I have a friend named Jeff Jones.
No.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
That's unfortunate.
He's like, that was a fun name to have in the 80s.
Oh Lord. Wow. So any other thoughts about just the movie in general before we move on to whether or not it deserves the hype? I don't think any of us feel like it deserves the hype.
I just have a lot of like, why is Claire doing this? Why does she like Bender? He treats her like crap the whole movie. He does nothing redeemable. I don't know why she likes him. And,
He's a bad boy.
you know,
Oh,
and the
geez.
lipstick thing, like, what was that? And she's like, don't laugh. And I'm like,
yes.
there was nothing funny about that or interesting or talented.
And
like,
also, she didn't
she
really
made it
do
seem
it.
like it was like a party trick, right? Like, oh, look at this cool thing I can do. I didn't
Yeah.
think it was that cool.
And yeah, she treated it as if it was an essential part of her personality. It
Yeah.
was like as if you just called her butt ugly because you didn't like the fact that she could put her lipstick on with it stuck between her boobs.
that
Which
was
again,
so
she did not
extra.
actually do that. That was total camera tricks. Camel tricks. It was camel tricks.
It didn't even, yeah. It was,
was
it
camera.
Wasn't even
Yeah,
good camera
you didn't
tricks,
actually see
no.
her do it. So what's the point of even including it? It's like
Oh,
we know
geez.
she can't
right.
do it.
You might as well have had her do a backflip and had like,
Yeah.
you know, a stunt double do that.
Yeah,
You know?
like when
That
Rose
would've
was
been
in the
actually
dance
more-
competition in the Golden Girls, and it was
Yeah.
obviously a much skinnier, much taller woman in a blonde wig.
No, that was Betty White. What are you talking about?
No, it wasn't Betty
Oh,
White,
darn
Jennifer.
it.
Sorry.
Just
Sorry to burst your bubble.
Destroy my life.
I don't know how you'll ever rebuild after that.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, so talk to us, and we'll ask you this first, Matthew. Do you think this movie deserves all the hype it gets? I shouldn't ask that way. Do you think it deserves all the hype
Ask
it
more
gets?
neutral, Jonathan.
Again, if it's 1985, the pacing is what it is because it's a 1985 movie. But if it's 1985, sure. But I don't see how over the years people have maintained that it is this brilliant film. Like I said, watching it as you grow up, you realize, oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. Yes, I thought I knew everything when I was 15 too. Okay. And now I realize I don't. So, I mean, it's a perfectly little thing for people to watch and be like, oh, I remember when I was 15 and I watched this at the movie theater that had 2 movie theaters in it and before Cineplexes. And, you know, I guess, but
No.
Oh, jeez.
I do that a lot. Ugh.
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 Yeah, that was my exact reaction to this movie after I watched it. I was
Yeah,
like, ugh.
but-
What about you, Max? What do you think?
Well, I mean, obviously no. It does not. My first sort of actual exposure to this movie, other than just like it being a meme in popular culture, was I was at a party in high school and someone decided to play this movie, and I watched for like 2 minutes and I was like, this is boring as hell. I'm going to go actually be a rebellious teenager. Bye. It was
Oh,
like a
yeah.
total it was a total
Party
mood cu-
killer.
It was a total party killer. And I was like, why did anyone think this was a good idea?
Well, I mean, anytime you're at a party and someone puts a movie on, like, that's it. Party's over.
I don't know. I've been to a couple of parties where the movies worked out, but like, yeah, turning on the movie at the party is like the okay, let's cool it all down move. It's time to go to bed or get out.
Let's bring it down.
Yeah.
Show.
The party's over when somebody says, hey, watch this video.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. If you're at a
Oh,
party
geez.
and someone puts a movie on, they want you to leave.
Yeah. And
Listeners, this is a free public service announcement. If this happens to you, if you're at a party and they say, let's watch The Breakfast Club, that's your cue to be like,
They're
good night,
telling
guys.
They're telling you to get out of their house, and I think that's really the real life like personification of this movie. It's like I'm turning this on for you to leave now. Like that's The Breakfast Club.
If you're in a relationship with someone and you want to break up with them, but you don't want to like actually break up, just put this movie on, and eventually they'll just wander out of the room and out of your life.
Just say,
forever.
"Hey, babe, we're just like this," and let's play it, and then like run away.
Yeah, say, you remind me of this Judd Nelson guy.
Oh my goodness.
And they'll be so offended that they'll get the hell out of there.
He's so edgy.
He's so edgy.
So
Everyone's
edgy.
edgy in this movie.
So my thoughts, I really agree with Matthew. You know, I get maybe why people liked it at the time, and you know, people grew up with this, and if you're a teenager, you might like feel like, oh, these kids are so cool, I want to be like them. But I just feel like looking at it with fresh eyes in 2022, there's better versions of this movie out there that exist that are less problematic.
Yes.
Yeah.
That are more interesting, that are more realistic. I get the nostalgia aspect, I guess, but I don't see myself ever watching this again. And I don't.
Yeah.
So for me, it's at the time, yes, I can see why it would have been popular. And of course, obviously, these actors were popular at the time and all that too, and get them all in one room together. But yeah, not so much. My fave.
There's an episode of ER, which is a show I love that was on for 900 years.
We've heard of ER, Jonathan.
Yeah. There's a little show that you might not have heard of called ER. Yeah. And there's an episode from the 8th season that was supposed to be a takeoff on this movie. It's 5 people that work in the ER that show up for this sexual harassment refreshment course that they have to take. And the teacher is late. So it's just them sitting in the classroom interacting with each other and talking about stuff. And it's a total like change of pace episode from what ER normally is. And having seen that many times, I was like, oh, well, the real version of this has got to be good too. Because I really like that episode. I like that it's like a character study and it's more character driven than plot driven. I would watch that episode 100 times before I would watch this again.
Yeah.
And if anyone out there is listening and you can get ER on Hulu, just watch that episode instead.
Yeah.
It's way better. Even if you aren't familiar with the show, even if you don't know the characters. I mean, you don't know the characters in this before it starts either. So it's a great introduction to that show. And also it's got Goran Viznik, which...
I still don't know who it is, but okay.
You will someday.
I probably do by sight.
All right,
Yes. Speaking of that guy that you found attractive, was I wrong in thinking that the hottest guy in this movie was the janitor?
I thought the same thing.
I feel like the janitor.
I couldn't figure out why the janitor was there. Really, he didn't really do much, but I did like it. When
why was he there on a Saturday? Wouldn't he just work a normal 5-day week? But I feel like he's in a secret love affair with Anthony Michael Hall's character.
Kind of. Is that what happened?
They have him like address him by name several times, and it feels creepy.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
I kind of took it as like this kid's so dorky he's friends with the janitor.
I think they're lovers.
Okay.
I think they should have been.
I didn't read that.
Yeah.
So they were a couple already. So that's why Anthony Michael Hall doesn't get to be in a couple. But yeah, he was attractive. That guy.
I don't know about the hottest, but in terms of like overall, the one who I would go for in this movie would be him.
He's mysterious. Too.
Yeah, he's mysterious and
like deep, right? Like,
sure.
Like talking to the principal and like trying to figure out what's really going on.
He's not like other janitors. He's a cool janitor.
No disrespect to janitors.
Remember Fast and Furious? That guy became a janitor, and that was like the worst thing you could be.
Right, because he had brain damage. Ooh, yeah.
I wasn't trying to disrespect janitors. I was just trying to say that this particular janitor is a manic pixie dream janitor.
I don't know how janitors keep coming up on this podcast. It keeps happening.
Should we get a janitor?
I'm just saying our janitors didn't look like that. I would have let him clean my. I would have let him clean my mop. I would have let him clean my mop bucket.
No, all our janitors looked like Emilio Estevez's dad in this movie. They were all like balding old men.
I mean, like his dad in the movie. Okay, I was like, wait.
Martin Sheen
would have been cool. What are you talking about?
His game was on point at this point in the 80s. You know, he still looked really... I mean, he still looks good, but he looked good in the 80s. All right, so let's move on to the What Do You Mean You've Never Seen awards.
Ooh.
And I don't think there's going to be a lot of surprises in this section, but we're going to do it anyway because this is what we do. And Matthew, we're going to ask you our first question that is part of the awards section.
It is very important.
It is very important.
Think hard.
It is a very cinematic
This might be the most important question you've ever been asked
in your life.
Literally.
Think hard. I've already seen Emilio Estevez. Go on.
Okay. Is this movie better than The Muppet Movie?
Oh God, no. Oh God, no. I thought when you said you were going to go through the awards, I was like, who would get the Best Actress Academy Award?
We do that a little bit too, but this is the first introduction to this segment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is it better than the Muppet Movie? Oh my God.
That is what we judge all movies by.
Yeah.
Who would ever think that?
Our thoughts exactly.
Yeah.
And here's the second part of that question. If we were to recast this movie with Muppets and only keep one human actor in it, which human actor would that be? And do you have any thoughts on which Muppets should play which characters?
Oh God, I think I'd make Janice the Ali Sheedy.
Oh,
Yes.
100.
Yes.
Just because, in the Muppet movie, if I want to walk around nude, I'm gonna walk around nude.
She is Janice.
Oh.
But,
She's already very Muppet-like.
I almost think the janitor would be the only live action person.
I
think, 'cause
agree. I
I
agree.
feel like
Yeah.
he's the most realistic, and that's saying a lot about this movie. That there's a realistic character.
Yes.
But he's
Like-
the most human, I
They,
think.
we definitely should have Sam the Eagle playing the teacher's character.
Oh, yeah, that'd be interesting.
It would probably be way more interesting.
I feel like Anthony Michael Hall is Gonzo. Fozzie Bear is Judd Nelson.
I think you might want to rethink that one.
Although, I think it might be insane if Anthony Michael Hall was the one real person, because it's just all the Muppets being around him going insane, then he's just like, I want to kill myself with a gun that I brought to school. It's
A flare gun.
A flare gun. Like, I think that would be like a stark contrast. Just like Muppets surrounding that would be insane.
Yes, Muppet remake of The Breakfast Club now.
That'd be good.
Okay,
That would
next
be good.
question. Jennifer, name something you like better than this movie and something you like less.
Oh gosh, I should have thought of this already. Something I like better than this movie was probably like the kettle corn I was eating while I was watching it. I enjoyed that more than I enjoyed the movie itself.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
We were eating lasagna, so we were in hog heaven.
Oh, yeah.
Something I liked worse than this movie is when you go in your backyard and sometimes you get like those stickers all up your pants.
Oh.
I don't
Oh,
like that.
yeah.
I'll take the movie over that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How about you, Max?
How about me? One thing I liked better than this movie, as we might have mentioned in previous episodes, I recently dislocated my shoulder and have been out of commission for like 2 months now. Dealing with that has felt, better and quicker than watching this movie. So I'm going to say I like that better than watching this movie.
He would rather dislocate his shoulder again.
I've enjoyed some of the me time that's come out of that more than having to watch this movie.
That's fair.
And then something that I think is worse than this movie is, I don't know, the Great Depression or something. I don't know.
The Great Depression.
The only thing he could think of is the Great Depression.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not great at thinking of answers to these questions. Not my favorite questions in the world. I'm not gonna lie.
All right. So I'll open it up to the group, whoever wants to chime in. Who's the winner of this movie and who is the loser of this movie?
I think Emilio wins the movie for me.
Yeah.
He's the only character I really felt from the beginning. He did try to be like, hey, leave her alone. He was like defensive of Molly at first. And I liked him for the most part until he got into the fact of why he ended up in detention. Then I kind of turned on him a little bit. But overall, I guess
Yeah, that was like a hate crime.
that was
Yeah.
horrifying. I don't even want to talk about it. But
He taped somebody's butt cheeks
it
together.
was horrible.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
he's like, and the guy's really hairy, so it was like really stuck. And then he had to go home and tell his dad about it. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It was horrifying.
horrifying.
Just another thing that you wouldn't just get detention for. That's a suspension at
You
least.
could get arrested for doing something
Yeah.
like that.
Ugh.
Because that's assault.
It was horrible.
Let's not forget in the first 5 minutes of the movie that it says "die fag" on
Oh,
the.
yeah.
Ah. Well, that
Right.
wasn't that Judd Nelson's locker?
Yeah.
That we find out that he wrote that on there though. Like,
Yeah,
don't touch this.
And he
or you-
calls Anthony Michael Hall that slur during the movie, too.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for me, he loses 100%.
Oh, yeah.
He loses the movie. I don't think he does anything redeemable. I don't know why Molly ends up with him. I don't know. When I was talking about this movie to somebody, and they're like, well, it's because she's into the bad boy. And I'm like, is she though? Because I don't get the impression at all throughout the movie that either of them like each other at all. And they end up together, and then he does this little victory punch. I'm just like, ugh, go away. I don't like you.
I'd say for me, let's keep this simple. I think the janitor won the movie because he got $50, and I think that the principal lost the movie because he lost $50 and his goddamn mind.
Because he was looking through confidential files in an unlocked filing cabinet.
Yeah.
It's just somewhere in the basement of this like 19-story high school. Oh Lord, yeah.
Can I ask again? John Hughes has more writing credits than I do. So, but I wanted, when the janitor showed up and was like, what are you doing? I wanted the janitor to put the teacher into an awkward position by saying, I heard what you said to that kid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, have the janitor overhear that horrible closet conversation where he's like, I'm going to beat the shit out of you. I was like, why didn't the janitor say, what's in it for me? I heard what you said to that kid.
Yeah, I felt like we could have spent more time with the janitor in general because he's a more interesting character than any of the other characters.
I would have loved to have spent more time with the janitor.
Ooh.
How about you? Who won the movie for you, Mathew, and who lost?
Okay, I'm not going to get all actory and all hoity-toity here. However, I think, and I blame the direction, but I think Anthony Michael Hall won the movie for me because I thought he had a stutter at the beginning of the movie where he was like kind of repeating things. And I thought his comedic chops for being 16 years old, his comedic chops, his acting chops, he won the movie for me. First of all, he's just precious.
Yeah,
he's
adorable.
When we're all 15, you look at it now and you're like, when I was 15, I was like, I'm the ugliest thing on the planet. I wish I were as ugly as I thought I was when I was 15.
Right. Oh.
Jesus Christ. But he won the movie for me, and he is just precious. But as far as acting, the girl that won the movie for me was Ali Sheedy, just because she did nothing for the first hour and a half of the movie.
Yeah, it takes her a long time to even speak one word. Like, a long time.
And I started to wonder, like, is she getting paid the same as everybody else? Because I would have an issue if I walked in and saw that script and I was like, what's Allie making?
Right?
To be Ali Sheedy. Imagine just getting to have
memorize
that
any
career.
dialogue. Just sit there.
Just
Doesn't
sit there and
matter.
look weird.
Doesn't matter what she's cast in, she just needs to stand in a corner and scream, and then she's Ali Sheedy. Congratulations, you did it.
Yes, but she does eventually get to be in Short Circuit, which
Oh yeah, that's true.
now there's a
Are we going
cinematic
to do
classic.
that on this podcast?
I've
already
We have
seen
to find
it.
someone who hasn't seen it.
Yeah, we have to see someone who has.
But yeah, I agree. Ali Sheedy is probably the most interesting character in this movie, I have to say. I like Anthony Michael Hall's as well, but you're just sitting there looking at her like, what is her deal?
Right.
Whereas the rest of them, I could care less. They're not really that interesting to me. Molly Ringwald, first of all, she looks like someone's mom in this movie.
Yeah.
She doesn't
Her
look like
haircut is
she's...
bad.
Yeah, she doesn't look like a 16-year-old at all.
Well, first of all, nobody did in 1984.
True. That's
We
true.
talk about that. We talk about that a lot on my podcast, Let's Face the Facts, about the facts of life. How people, guest stars walk in and it's like they're a college student. It's like, oh, are they 40 or are they 18?
Shoulder pads,
Because
jackets.
they're-
Big
They're
hair.
dressed like,
Jeez.
we always joke they're dressed like Dorothy Michaels in Tootsie, for God's sake.
Yep.
What I couldn't get over was, and I lived through 84, I don't remember anybody having that Molly Ringwald Hadassah flip. That's what that wig is called. I know it's her real hair, but that, like, if you watch like old ladies on like old game shows and stuff, like in the 60s, they all have that big bubble flip, like that Ann Miller.
Mhm.
It's basically a little Ann Miller wig, for God's sake. I was like, no one was doing that in 1984.
It is
Nobody
a very weird haircut. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like she should have had a perm, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
Because perms were big in the mid-'80s.
Where were the perms?
I will give it up to Ali Sheedy for like having the only interesting, introspective piece of dialogue where she tells Molly Ringwald, it's a trap when they ask you if you're a virgin because no matter what you say, it's wrong.
Yeah.
And even though she says this very profound thing, then she still goes along with the boys and tortures Molly into answering the question. Which,
Right.
Yeah.
whose side are you on, Allie?
And then she
I
gets a
don't like
makeover.
that. Whoa. Sorry. I dropped my cup.
Jennifer was so mad, she threw her cup across the room. How dare you, Ali Sheedy?
I was like, wow, okay, this is an interesting comment. Like she actually makes a good point. But then she's still like, well, you still have to answer the question. Why? Like, you just told her not to. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Now we're going to rate this movie.
Oh,
I'm
boy.
very curious to hear what everyone is
dear.
going to say. And the way this works, this game we play, is you have to pick a metric that relates to the movie itself, and then you give it however many out of 5. So I'll go first. I'm going to give this movie 2.5 Captain Crunch white bread sandwiches. Because there were interesting parts to it. And the performances are good. I just don't think the story is interesting at all.
Right.
And it's a good combination of people. It's charismatic actors, and the guys look good, and the girls are, they're interesting, or at least Ali Sheedy's interesting. So I'm going to give it 2.5 Captain Crunch white bread sandwiches. What about you, Max?
I'm going to give this 2.5 individually rolled joints that everybody holds their own rather than passes one around. This movie was not for me. I get why people like it. Sure, not for me. Don't come at me with this movie anymore. I'm done with it. Goodbye.
I'll just wait till we have to do Pretty in Pink and 16 Candles.
Ugh.
We're doing Pretty in Pink very soon. So.
I defy you to tell me the difference between those two movies. I haven't seen either one of them, but to me, it just feels like they're going to be the same movie. How about you, Matthew?
Oh, Lord. Just because of the, I don't want to say historical importance of the film, for God's sake, but just the cultural importance of the film, I will give it 2 Emilio Estevez's in a tank top.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That is a good one.
Because it, for me, was the only reason to watch it. I could have used a couple more shots of his armpits, but that's just me. That's a personal thing. That's just me.
Maybe there's like a calendar from 1984 that he did where you
Ooh,
can see
I'm
stuff.
sure he's on like Teen Bop or Tiger Beat, or I'm sure he's all over that.
Yep, I Googled all that. All that.
Maybe we'll have to see if we can find a calendar for the studio.
He's also on WikiFeet, just so everybody knows.
Oh.
Good to know.
No thanks,
I'm sure he's
but
very
thanks.
proud of that.
His crowning achievement in his career.
Yeah, that and like even better than being in the Mighty Ducks. The fact that he's desired on WikiFeet. Oh God.
I have a foot thing that rules my life, so.
Okay, so I'm going to give this 2.5 out of 5 room temperature sushi rolls that have been sitting out all day. Because I think it's, like you guys said, it's culturally important. I get why in the 80s these were the coolest kids and this was like the thing to watch. I don't think it holds up over time, and I don't know that it deserves the recognition it gets still to this day, because people still really do love this movie and regard it as really great, and I don't think it holds up. I really don't. I think it's very much of its time and it deserves its place in history for that, but that's about it. Leave it in 1985.
Yeah, don't Back to the Future to this movie.
No, we're good.
Oh no.
I didn't get asked what I liked better and what I liked worse.
Oh no!
Oh.
What did you like better and worse than this movie?
Forgive me. I had a raging case of hemorrhoids back in the 90s.
So did you like that
You like
better or worse?
That I liked better.
Oh God. All right, so let's move on to our final thoughts, and we'll let you go first, Matthew. Is there anything else that you still wanted to bring up, or any complaints, anything else you want to say about it?
I mean, again, it's just very John Hughes. I guess, I was trying to think, and this is maybe a question for the group as well, trying to think who 15-year-old Mathew would have related to. If I were Mathew in 1985 and 15, who I would have related to. And I think I related most to little Anthony Michael Hall, because I wasn't the wrestling jock and I wasn't the cool kid. I mean, it is what it is. It's a John Hughes movie, for God's sake, who makes an appearance in the film. He plays Brian's dad.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, the thing is, it says a lot about the characterizations in this movie, where the person that you, and I agree, I relate most, or I would have as a teenager, to Anthony Michael Hall's character. The fact that the character you relate to the most is the one that brought a gun to school. It says a lot about how bad the rest of the characters are in the movie.
It's just tropes on tropes on tropes.
Yeah.
It makes it hard to relate to. And again, obviously looking at it from 2022 eyes, there's no people of color in this. There's no, what is this school? It's a bunch of middle class.
These children are a bunch of middle-aged white men.
They look middle-aged. Bunch of middle class, whiny white kids. And also, I feel like John Hughes and a lot of directors from that era are very much like, this is what the kids are into.
They're
some
not.
old guy's vision of what kids like or how they act or how they talk. It just doesn't feel super realistic to me.
Yeah, I felt the characters in Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, were more relatable high school characters than the characters in this movie.
I thought about that too, because like the beginning of Jumanji, it's the same premise, right? They're all stuck in Saturday school. And they show us how they all got there and why they're all there, and then they do actually bond and do something interesting throughout the course of the movie. And this movie, not so much.
Yeah, but I want to say even if these characters got sucked into a video game, I don't think it would have really been that interesting.
Yeah, I think this is yet another movie where I feel like the characters in it are less realistic than those in the Muppet movie. I just relate to the characters in the Muppet movie and their experiences more. There are puppets in that movie who I relate to more than any character in this film.
Fair.
True that.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else have any final thoughts?
I have one. I didn't really I hardly took any notes on this movie because I didn't care about anything. But the one final note that I have is at the end when Molly Ringwald hands Judd Nelson the earring, she doesn't hand it to him with a clip. There's not the clip on it. So he just puts it in his ear and hopes for the best, I guess.
Oh, it had a back.
Did it have
I'm pretty sure
when
it had
I saw it in his hand, I was like, that doesn't have a back on it.
I'm pretty sure it had one of those little butterfly backs.
I remember, when I saw it in the movie very specifically, I did not think it had a back. We can look up to see if we can find an image, but that's, my last note. It was it didn't have a back on it.
Why is she giving him her earring?
Because they're going to be in love forever. Based on their interactions in this movie.
I really hope that's not a real diamond. You think it's real diamond? Or it's supposed to be
Probably.
like a $300 pair of earrings that she's just like, I'm going to give this idiot one?
And he puts it in his ear. I would be heading straight to the pawn shop and selling that crap.
I thought to myself, because it was 1985, I hope he's not putting it in the gay ear.
Right?
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
And he had two... He
had
had
lightning bolt earrings. Did you guys notice that?
Yeah.
Yeah, those were kind of cool. I like those.
And he had multiple piercings because he's edgy and badass.
So edgy. Everybody's so edgy.
They're so edgy.
You know what else I thought about? The picture that Ali Sheedy... I can't remember her. Allison draws.
It's literally her real first name.
Yeah. So she draws this very beautiful scenic covered bridge. I was actually surprised at that because, as we know, she's edgy. So I would have thought they would have had her drawing a demon or something like that. I was like, oh, that's the picture she tries to draw. Interesting choice.
It's because she secretly wants to be a princess just like Molly Ringwald.
I see.
That's why she gets a makeover in the end and then gets to make out with Emilio Estevez.
Where did she get that white tank top?
And what happened to her dandruff?
Oh, who knows?
Maybe the headband.
I am looking at a picture of the earring right now. It does have a back to it. Sorry, everybody. I guess I just didn't see it. It looked different to me when I watched it.
And that concludes Earring Gate 2022.
These are the questions that matter. Did
That's
that
all,
earring have a
folks.
back?
Not since the houseboat debate of Sleepless in Seattle. We had such a hotly debated topic.
I don't know.
Any last thoughts, Matthew?
No. Please don't make me watch Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Well, we've already all seen that one, so I don't think we'll be doing it on the podcast.
Yeah.
But we'd love to have you back for another movie.
Hopefully one you'll enjoy more.
Hopefully not another John Hughes movie. I do hope that when you watch Pretty in Pink and Breakfast Club and everything, I would love to hear which one is of your favorite, because they're all problematic.
Right.
I would love to hear which one is your favorite.
Yeah, we'll have to rank all the John Hughes at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next one we're doing is Pretty in Pink.
Right. And we
We're
don't
doing
have,
that in a
and
few
then
weeks.
we'll have to do 16 Candles after that. Okay. Well, thank you so much for being with us today, Matthew. And we want to give you an opportunity. If there's anything you want to plug, or if there's anywhere our viewers can follow you or reach you.
Oh, no. Just, you can always listen to my podcast with my dear friend David Almeida. It's about the TV show The Facts of Life, which was a huge part of our lives. And
Me and Jonathan, too. That's one of our favorite shows.
We are now entering season 9.
Ooh.
And you talk about a deep dive into the facts of life. Oof. I mean, it goes pretty deep into the facts of life, or as we call the facts of life universe, or as we call it, the folk you.
All right. What's the name of your podcast?
It's called Let's Face the Facts with
Ooh.
David Almeida.
All right. Check the link in the description below to check out that hot facts of life action.
I
don't
listen
know.
to it every single week, so that's how I contacted Matthew. I was like, will you come be on my podcast? It's not as cool as yours, but we'll try.
We'd be happy to have you back because it seems like you like the stuff we like.
I would be happy to come back, and maybe we can do it in person.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be awesome.
That'd be great.
In our new studio. Ooh.
So, listen to Matthew's podcast. It's really good. I do listen to it every week. I've been listening to it since it first came on. It's really great if you like the facts of life. And Jonathan and I grew up on that show, so I really enjoy it. It's one of my favorites. And
Good
I
comeback, Tootie.
I like the later seasons, so I'm like a season 7 through 9 stan. So.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm enjoying it still, even in season 8 and 9.
And I never really saw any of the Facts of
Max
Life.
is a baby, Mathew, in case you didn't know. He's very young.
Ugh.
27, 26?
27.
27.
You were born in 2027? 2015.
2015. We'll have to tell that story on the show sometime.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate you talking to us today, Mathew.
Oh,
and we
thank
appreciate you sitting through this movie. Like, I feel bad when we make people sit through movies they don't like.
Yeah.
I feel better now having seen it. So the next time somebody's like, oh my God, The Breakfast Club, I can be like, ugh.
You could be like, ugh. And listen to the podcast I was on where we talked about how much we hated it.
You get to finally scream your fave is problematic.
You should always speak good of the dead. John Hughes is dead. Good.
Oh my God.
Oh dear.
Oh, thank you so much, Mathew, for being on.
Thank
My
you.
pleasure. Talk to you soon, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Now is the time where we will discuss what our next episode is going to be. Ooh. Drum roll, please. Our next film will be E.T. the Extraterrestrial.
Ooh.
A movie that I originally thought we would never be able to do because I didn't think we'd find anyone who hadn't seen it. But it turns out Jennifer has not seen this movie all the way through.
Your sister has not seen this and you didn't know. And it was funny because when we talked about it, our other brother also texted me and was like, wait, what? You never saw it? And I was like, nope.
And the thing is, when you were probably in like the later years of middle school or the early years of high school, I bought the 25th anniversary
I remember having the
special
DVD.
edition. And there was you could watch, there was the movie disc and then there was also a disc that showed you the movie being played with a live orchestra playing along it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And
Is it
like
it's John Williams,
commemorative,
yeah?
it's John Williams.
Oh,
Because it's a
fine.
Steven Spielberg joint. So
Gotcha.
especially in the 80s, it was all about the Williams. And it is a gorgeous score.
Yeah.
It's beautiful,
sure.
I'm
beautiful
familiar
music.
with the score.
Yeah, for me, one of my favorite parts of the movie is the score.
Yeah.
You know,
I
and
mean,
of course,
Definitely.
I feel like this is one of these, just like how I kind of felt with Goonies, that it's like I've seen all the bits and pieces, just not sat down and watched it in order.
Yeah.
Like, focused on the movie. I mean, I know the gist, right? I know it's an alien and he befriends Elliot, the kid, and Drew Barrymore's there shrieking her little head off. And then he like rides the bike and, there's like people coming to try to take him away to, I don't know, study him or something.
Yeah.
I don't think there's going to be anything necessarily about the plot that like shocks me.
Yeah.
But I still am interested to watch it because I've never actually sat down and watched it start to finish.
and I feel like because of cable and broadcast television and all that stuff, this is a movie where probably almost everybody has seen the end of it.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
the last 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I myself, until I was almost like 17 or 18, I like ever like saw the start of it
Right.
or the middle part. There's a lot of stuff with the suburban family, and
Right. I feel like I maybe have seen the start of it. I feel like there's a lot of nonsense in the middle that I've not seen.
Yeah.
At all. I know Reese's Pieces is a big part of this, and that's one of Jonathan's favorite candies. So we'll probably have to eat that while we watch it for sure.
Reese's Pieces
We're gonna
party.
bring back that segment. What should we eat while watching this? We did it only one time, but we'll bring it back for this. So Reese's Pieces, I know, is gonna be there because M&M's didn't want to do it, right?
Yeah,
Something with
short-sighted.
that. I know that.
They,
right?
they bet on the wrong horse.
Yeah.
They probably advertised on something like the Blade Runner.
Right, we're like
We talked
Atari.
about that in the
Yeah.
Blade Runner episode.
Yeah. So and I know the music, and I feel like I've been on the ride at some point in Universal California.
In Hollywood, we have been
I
on
don't
that
think
ride.
I've been on the one out here in Florida, but yeah. So E.T. That'll be a good one.
How about you, Max? What's your relationship with this movie?
I saw this movie for the first time. I'm pretty sure it was when it was re-released in theaters. I want to say it was for like 15th anniversary or something was the first time I watched it. It was a re-release in theaters of some sort. Yeah, I've seen it all the way through. I remember liking it. It's been a long time since I've watched it. That's about it. It's a good movie. It's a classic.
And the other thing I want to say about this is that we are timing the release of this episode, the ET episode that's going to come out, so that it releases the same week that the movie itself is coming back to theaters in IMAX for the first time.
Yes.
So not only are we going to watch this movie, not only are we going to do a What Do You Mean You've Never Seen episode about it, we are then going to also go watch the movie in IMAX together, and then we're going to do a reaction podcast for you guys.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you'll get to hear what we think of seeing it in the big screen. I am so excited for this.
Jonathan
So
loves
big.
big screens.
I love big screens. I love sitting in those recliner seats.
Yes.
I like
I
big
like-
screens a little bit less than you. That gives me a little bit of a headache, but
Fair
I'm gonna power
enough.
through.
I feel like this movie is going to be one where it doesn't have a lot of like
Well, more
dizzying
than 3D
stuff.
Yeah.
upsets me. I don't think they're going to do it in 3D, right? It's just IMAX.
No, this was before 3D was big, I'd say.
Yeah, I think the Jaws, because Jaws is also going to be coming out later on. I think the
Yeah.
Jaws is going to have some kind of a 3D conversion
Ugh.
for certain scenes only.
Okay.
But I didn't read anything about ET being in 3D.
All right.
And I don't
Fair
think
enough.
ET really needs to be in 3D.
No, it does not.
Probably not.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah,
well,
we're excited to experience this movie and share our thoughts with you next week. So please continue to tune in. And as always, we thank you for liking and subscribing and
Yes.
for downloading our episodes and going to our YouTube page and being a part of our
Comments
Patreon.
on our Instagram, because
Yep.
anything helps the algorithm, guys.
Yeah.
Comment, like,
Help us
everything.
help us get in front of the eyes of more people so we can get into the ears of more people.
Yes.
Ooh,
that was a good
I like that
transition, wasn't it?
catchphrase.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
World.
I'm going to have to
That's
use
our
that
goal.
from now on. We're so thankful for everyone's participation in this process.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for listening. We hope you keep coming back and we hope you keep finding new stuff that we have available for you. And I'm going to pass it off to my co-hosts to say goodbye.
All right, go grab your Reese's Pieces, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
See you next time. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Our episodes and digital content are produced by Max Abelman. Your hosts are our writer, Jonathan Colon, producer, Max Abelman, and head of social media and community outreach, Jennifer Branch. All artwork for our show is created by James Alexander with Pleasant View Designs. Check the links in the description below for more information on how to follow the show and subscribe to our Patreon. Thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll see you at the movies.